Hey guys, I'm back with more hidden gems, this time at long last for the Nintendo Wii. So here are 10 hidden JRPG gems for this underrated system. Let's begin! Number 10. Muramasa the Demon Blade. Muramasa is one of the best JRPGs in this list, but it stays on number 10 because I feel it is fairly known. Now, it is arguable that it might or might not be a role-playing game, considering it's too short and too action-oriented. However, what matters is that it's awesome. It is an amazing experience with its beautiful 2D environments. You take control of 2 playable characters, which means you can beat the game with just one or both if you want to. Each obviously has their own route and plot to follow. The RPG elements are indeed present here, such as the constant interaction with other NPCs, the customizable skills and weapons, and the leveling up system. It is a hard hack and slash game, so you'd best prepare for grinding. Getting lost is easy here, as the maps can be rather long sometimes. But if we consider the endearing and addictive gameplay mechanics, once in a while, you'll get lost on purpose. Muramasa has an enhanced port on the PS Vita, which is the version most people are familiar with. Just in case you didn't know, it was originally released on the Wii, developed by Vanillaware, creators of Odin Sphere and Dragon's Crown. This is a must play, whether it's an RPG or not. Number 9. Opoona. One of the weirdest RPGs I've ever played is called Opoona. You follow the adventures of the main character with the same name, trying to find his family. It's a turn-based RPG, heavily overlooked and quite, unique. As you can see, it takes place in a science fiction universe involving spaceports and space travel. Primarily, you'll be doing jobs after acquiring a variety of licenses for them. This will lead you to several gameplay mechanics that are in fact related to each job. One major aspect is Opoona's ability to discern art, with paintings and sculptures for example. This, believe it or not, will affect his status and what kinds of jobs he can take. These little things and the constant exploration will take up most of the game. Now, I said it was turn-based, right? Well, about that, it's actually kind of weird because it involves a real-time waiting bar similar to the Final Fantasy series. The more energy you put into your weapon, which is the bonbon, yeah, that ball, the more damage. But it needs to recharge while in active time, which means strategizing your attacks and timing is the key to balance. Overall, Opoona is a charming, cutesy RPG and definitely I'd recommended hidden gem. Number 8. Little King's Story. Another cutesy game but highly addictive is this other weird-ass game. Here you will take control of a midget king that lives in the middle of nowhere with a bunch of nobodies. Your job is to build your own kingdom here with the help of these nobodies. Your advisor will always tell you what to do next, so you'll have one or several goals in mind to build facilities and make money. This is where your party members, the townspeople themselves, will come in handy. You'll form parties with them so you can explore the area as it grows, to search for money, gather items, destroy obstacles and defeat enemies. Each of them can have a type of job which will become helpful depending on the situation. Everybody will level up as long as the kingdom itself levels up through expansion. Now, there is some micromanagement involved, but the simplistic nature of the game makes you easily overcome it. There's also a story here and it has its sweet charm, but you won't be playing this game for that. Little King's Story got an enhanced port on the Vita, which is supposed to be the better version, but honestly, you can't go wrong with the vanilla and dirt cheap Wii release. Give it a try if you can. Number 7. Spectrovis Origins. You probably noticed the Disney logo in the cover. That just means Disney Interactive Studios are the publishers of these games. Origins is a science fiction RPG that follows the intergalactic adventures of Rallen and Gina. Their mission is to fight the war against the Kralls, an invasive alien species. Story-wise, well, it's literally a game for kids, with cheesy sense of humor. However, it has top-notch voice actors in English, like Yuri Lowenthal as the main character. As an action RPG, it is quite fun. Controls are responsive, interface is solid, and camera movement seem to be receptive as well. It has Pokemon-like characteristics such as finding creatures known as the Spectrovs. However, you do this by digging them up in their fossilized state, which leads to another gameplay mechanic. In this minigame, you will have to use the Wii's motion controls to excavate them with the various available tools. They can be a bit of a chore sometimes, but fun nonetheless considering they're quite easy. Spectrovs will be by your side, some will help you find things and fossils, some will help you in battle. This game also has a 2-player co-op mode, but only by switching between the two main characters back and forth. Something you can do also in single-player mode, but you can only switch on save points. Anyway, this is a very fun game to play with a killer soundtrack. Not a masterpiece or anything special, but still quite above average. Number 6. Phantom Brave. It's an enhanced port of the original PS2 version, also available on the PSP by the way. Each version has its differences of course, but overall it's the same game. Now, Phantom Brave is a strategy RPG highly influenced by the Disgaea series, which are the same developers here. Story starts off really interesting, but it soon turns into a good and tender comedy. You take control of Maruna, an outcast girl accused of being possessed. Since her parents died while he was with them, Ash, now turning to a phantom, decides to help her in her journey. Like in Disgaea, this is all about creating random characters with different jobs and small customization elements. Battles are laid down in isometric areas. Maruna needs to summon her party members, the Phantoms, by confining them to several different objects lying around. Each Phantom has a limited amount of time, so after a few turns, they will vanish. Not die, mind you, for the rest of the battle. So strategization when to summon them plays a vital role here. It's not grid based, so movement is bound by freedom within limited range of course. Phantom Brave is a very hard game because of these features, but being a Disgaea-like RPG, it shouldn't come off as a surprise. Definitely recommended for hardcore players. Number 5. Final Fantasy Fables Chocobo's Dungeon. You're probably surprised to see a Final Fantasy game here, but after all, it's one of the many spin-offs in the franchise. It is a roguelike RPG, very well done with tons of charisma. There is something compelling about this game that I think derives in its friendly gameplay mechanics, and notoriously for the original Final Fantasy music themes playing almost everywhere you go. It is a very good roguelike RPG for beginners with a great interface and excellent pacing. Plus you get to play as the Chocobo itself in its own little adventure. Story is actually quite good here. Chocobo and his partner Sid are thrown into a dimensional vortex which leads them to this town. Here the Major has everyone convinced that forgetting everything is the key to happiness, except for one girl who refuses to accept such a reality. Partnering with her, Chocobo will start a quest to save everyone's memories, in particular with the mysterious powers of a kid that fell from the sky. Bizarre plot, I know, but trust me, it keeps you immersed. Anyway, this is a roguelike game like I mentioned before, and it acts like most RPGs of its kind. Let's just say it plays very good, it's easier than most, and its repetitive nature strangely becomes an addiction. Also, it was recently remade for the Switch by the way. Number 4. Shiren The Wanderer. Now here is a more serious roguelike RPG, one that I'm also surprised to admit I really liked, just like Chocobo's Dungeon. In terms of difficulty, however, they're aeons apart as Shiren is tough as nails, even on easy mode. So you follow the traveling Shiren, or should I say wandering, into a new adventure. Story-wise, it plays like the E-series. You don't necessarily need to play the others first, but they are all connected. This is the best in the Mystery Dungeon series in my opinion, so no wonder it's one of the most expensive games in this list. Its rarity probably derives from the fact that its positive reviews came in contradiction with its lack of marketing and sales. What I really liked about this game is that you have party members that can fight alongside you. They will be controlled by the AI, but in a very intelligent way for the most part. Or you can switch to them at any time to control them directly, depending on the situation. I strongly advise you do that with the bosses, as they can be utterly unnerving. Shiren The Wanderer is a fantastic game, one of the absolute best roguelike RPGs I've ever played, and definitely a game you should try. Number 3. Pandoras Tower. Since this game was part of Operation Rainfall alongside The Last Story and Xenoblade Chronicles, it's not exactly a hidden gem, more like a forgotten RPG that didn't do very well in sales. That's harsh, considering how good it is. This underrated action RPG lets you control Aaron, a soldier that rescues his lover, Elena, in the middle of a war. Upon being helped by an extremely obnoxious and weird character called Mavda, they realize Elena has a curse. She will soon turn into a horrible monster, and the only way to stop this is by feeding her on creatures' flesh, specifically the hearts of the masters of the enormous tower where most of the game takes place. Pandoras Tower is disgusting because of this, but it makes you care so much about Elena that you commit yourself. It's a technical hack-and-slash game where you'll use a sword and a chain, both intrinsically linked to defeating enemies, solving puzzles, and taking down the bosses. Battles with them are the most fun, but stressful at the same time, considering the unique methods required for killing them. There is a time limit here. If you don't use regular monster flesh to feed Elena, or the masters' hearts, the curse will advance. Fortunately, time doesn't advance too quickly, so you can relax for the most part. Pandoras Tower sure has some really unique and interesting mechanics, and a story that embraces your mind through the game. Absolutely a must play on the system. Number 2. Arcrise Fantasia. Infamously known for its terrible English voice acting, this is a turn-based RPG that went under people's noses. Critics tried to destroy it because of that and its brutal difficulty spikes during boss battles. In my opinion though, it is an excellent and criminally underrated game. Revolves around a young soldier forming a pact with one of the deities in the game with the help of a diva called Rifia. Together they start an arduous journey in the middle of a devastating war, treacherous characters and some interesting plot twists. I swear this game looks entirely like a Tales of clone because of the characters, the story progression, and the overall exploration. Also because of the skits here and there. However, battles are played in turns. Parties are formed by 3 playable characters and sometimes a guest that will act on their own. The entire party is bound to action points that are shared amongst them. Choosing which character to act, when and how offers a very interesting sense of strategy. You will need this and a million healing items for the bosses, which are indeed brutally hard here. In the end, I'd say it's just as good as many Tales of games, but with an excellent turn-based battle system that hooks you right from the start. Number 1. Sakura Wars, So Long My Love. Another rare and expensive game, but currently not that much. There's also a PS2 version of it, but I've never played it. The one I got my hands on was the Wii version, and let me tell ya, I absolutely loved it. I thought it was gonna be a cheesy visual novel full of anime cliches, but it turned out to be a very well written story with strong character development. There are several gameplay mechanics here, as this is one of those RPGs that mix everything. Decisions in this game matter a lot, and they are bound to this Steam bar. You need to choose wisely but quickly before it runs out. This also applies for a lot of puzzles in the game, including some Ace Attorney-like segments. Since the game takes place in the New York of 1928, most of the music revolves around jazz, and let me tell you, I'm not a fan of that genre, but still, I really liked it. Gives the game a hell of a lot of personality. Let's talk about the battle system now. It's played in turns, first as a strategy RPG. Battles with normal enemies will take place in small areas. Characters will freely move around within limited range. After this, you'll be taken straight to boss battles in the air, which will play similarly. There is no leveling up here or customization per se, but somehow you always feel as if your mechs are progressing. This game is truly a masterpiece, but you will see battle after 1 hour or 2 of its visual novel elements and puzzles. If that turns you down, I advise against it, as it is totally worth your time in every sense of the word. Fragile Dreams. That's an interesting game. But you know, I played it for a little bit and I don't think it was an RPG, just didn't feel like one. It was more of a survival, adventure, environmental puzzle game. I mean, it does have some RPG elements, but very, very small. But that's just my opinion, right? Anyway, honorable mention, I guess. I didn't also include a game called Duck Upon Kingdom because I got the disc, but it wouldn't work. But as far as I'm concerned, it is a party game and it's also very expensive. Yikes. I just want to thank my buddy Luke Jean for providing some of the games for this video. Thanks for watching, don't forget to subscribe and share this video with your friends. See you next time!